What's going on, everyone? This is Vance Apollo and I am back with a new video. Now, I know I haven't been posting videos as regularly as I used to, but the last few weeks have been very crazy for me, so hopefully I should be able to get back to posting on a normal schedule, but hopefully. And this won't be a new EP of my show, but actually a movie review. And by the time of this posting, if you don't already know what I'm reviewing, you should by now know. But for those who are completely out of the loop, I will be reviewing Avengers Infinity War. I am stressing this big time. I am going above and beyond in stressing this, but I will be spoiling the hell out of this movie. So if you're not one of the millions of people that's seen this movie this past week, and by now I suggest you pause this video, stop it, whatever you do, and go see this movie. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. A brief synopsis of Avengers Infinity War. Thanos, the alien, the Mad Titan we see in the post-credit scenes of the first Avengers movie, finally lands down on Earth to collect all the Infinity Stones to finish the Infinity Gauntlet. And as you collect all the Infinity Stones for the Infinity Gauntlet, you have the most ultimate, unstoppable power in the entire universe. As superheroes are bound to do, they hear about this, they see it, and they know their Earth is about to end soon, so they plan to stop Thanos. I know I haven't been doing a lot of these movie reviews, but if you know by now, I do a pros and cons, and then I give a star rating for the movies I see. So first I'm going to start with the pros of this movie, and the first pro is that this movie had me hooked from the very beginning. Again, spoilers for this movie and a lot of other movies in the MCU, but it starts off with a distress call from Heimdall, I believe, who is trying to get help because Thanos has invaded the Asgardian ship that all the Asgardians in Thor Ragnarok took when they were but they were leaving Asgard. And that's where you kind of get your first, not glance, but that's where you see Thanos holding Thor's head. Thor, a thunder god, one of the mightiest gods pretty much the mightiest god in Asgard, holding Thor's head, and that whole scene just hooks you because you see dead Asgardians everywhere, you see just destruction everywhere, and if you remember Thor Ragnarok, you just saw it as almost like a peaceful not peaceful, but as an accomplished thing where they're gonna find a new place to call home, and then it's just destruction from the very beginning. From the very, very beginning, you get introduced to Thanos' children, you get introduced to Thanos himself, which was excellently played by Josh Brolin, if I do say so myself, and you get your first fight scene with Hulk and Thanos, and at the beginning, but if you know about the comics, you know it's not going to end well, but at the beginning you think, oh, Thor's going to be able to take him, and then Thanos just toys with Hulk. He toys with Hulk. The brain capacity to understand that type of thing is insane, but he toys with Hulk and pretty much body slams him on the ground. And then what Heimdall does is he transport Hulk to Earth, trying to send him as a distress call to warn others about Thanos coming to Earth. The next pro in this movie is that all the deaths felt like something important. So the two major deaths that happen in this movie is Loki and Guardians of the Galaxy's Gamora. Loki dies not trying to sacrifice himself, but trying to actually kill Thanos on the Asgardian ship, and that doesn't work out in his favor because they're trying to protect the Tesseract, aka the Power Stone, I believe. And the second death that happened in this movie was Guardians of the Galaxy's Gamora, who is an adoptive child of Thanos, which is interesting because they show how she became an adopted child of Thanos, and to me, it was so crazy because I was just like, oh, he's a nice kid. Wait a minute, he's killing the entire planet that Gamora is on, that Gamora lived on, and it put my brain in such a spin. It really did. But anyway, Gamora knows the location of the Soul Stone, a stone that Thanos is trying to collect for the Infinity Gauntlet, and Thanos knows that Gamora knows, but Gamora has never told Thanos. So what they do is they almost torture Gamora's adoptive sister, Nebula, yes, adoptive sister Nebula, to finally tell Thanos where the stone is. What happens is when Gamora tells Thanos where the stone is, they end up going to the planet of Vormir, I think it was called, and they get greeted by this mysterious figure, which I'll talk about in my next pro, but they'll get greeted by this mysterious figure, and he basically says a soul for a soul, and Thanos throws Gamora off a cliff to retrieve the Soul Stone. To me, that almost blew me away because I was not expecting that, and they didn't show Gamora falling and breaking her fall with anything, like snapping anything, but they showed the blood that was flowing out of Gamora to signify that she is straight up dead. The third pro of this movie for me is that it still left me surprised even though I saw all the trailers. What I'm starting to do now is try to avoid as many spoiler type things in this movie as possible, but with this, I already seen both the trailers. I didn't watch any of the TV spots. I did not watch any of the TV spots, but I saw the two main trailers, and I think I saw like the little teaser Super Bowl trailer, and I was thinking like, okay, I know what to expect from here, but when they were going to get the Soul Stone, oh my God, they didn't throw a curveball, but they just threw the biggest loop for everyone. The guy that was guarding the way to get to the Soul Stone was Captain America's villain, Red Skull. In the first Captain America movie, he was the main villain of this movie, and he was presumed dead. I mean, I think he's still dead. I'm not 100% sure how that is working, but he was presumed dead, and they take him. They take him and they just put him as a gatekeeper for the Soul Stone, and that threw literally everybody in the theater I was watching for a whole loop. That's what I mean by it still surprised me. Like, it was just like such a shock. The Marvel universe knows how to keep a secret because no one knew that was coming. Nobody expected that to happen. My fourth pro of this movie, and it doesn't have to do with the movie itself, but the theater experience, was that it felt like a true movie-going experience. I went to go see this on Thursday night, and it was a packed audience, and everybody in that movie from the beginning to end was hooked. Everybody was invested in this movie and the characters, and in the end, everybody had a visceral reaction to this movie. It was a true, it was so emotional, and it was like when at the end where everybody vanished because literally Thanos snapped his fingers with all the Infinity Stones on his Infinity Gauntlet, and everybody vanished. And what was the craziest thing about it that left everybody speechless, it left me shaken, was that it didn't take the original Avengers. It took Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. It took so many of the new people. It took so many of the new characters that came into this Marvel universe. And in the post-credit scene, it took Nick Fury and Maria Hill, and thankfully we saw what was going to come in the next movie, and hopefully what will be the saving grace of the next movie. I mean, not the saving grace, but the saving whatever is planned in this in this movie. But oh my God! And when they started vanishing, everybody was tearing up when Peter Parker was saying sorry to Tony, and then he was vanishing when Black Panther was vanishing. Just when the new Avengers were vanishing, it was just, oh man, it was hard to deal with. It was really hard, and everybody in that theater felt the exact same way. And I feel like that's what a lot of young filmmakers want to do now. You know, that's what film is about. That's what you want to accomplish with film. You want to have that audience experience. You want to have the audience feel so visceral about some scenes in a certain movie, and you want them to keep on talking about this movie until it's out of theaters and it's on DVD and you can get it for like $10 on a bargain bin or whatever. The last part I'll say about this movie, even though there is so many more I could say, there were so many more that I could just go over, is that the CGI in this movie didn't look so much like it was CGI. In the past, we have seen some superhero movies that like really kind of cake it on with the CGI. I'm not gonna mention those movies, but in this movie, and especially with characters like Thanos and the Hulk, they looked real. Like they look like it would be something happening in New York. Like all this stuff looked very real to me, honestly. And I saw this in IMAX, so that made it even that much better. But Thanos looked real, which was insane for me. But to every yin, there's a yang, and here are the cons of this movie, which to me, I don't really consider them huge cons, but it wasn't even annoying. It was just something I noticed that a lot of people were going to question. And pretty much the only con to this movie I have is that they really just wrote out Ant-Man and Hawkeye. And when the promotional stuff for this movie came out, everybody was wondering one big thing: where is Hawkeye? In the posters, they didn't find him. In the trailers, he wasn't nowhere to be seen. And in anything, he just wasn't there. So people were starting to speculate, like, is he going to be the new Marvel's superhero Ronin? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? But at the end of it, while they were showing you when this movie was happening, they literally said, oh, he's back on his farm on house arrest. And they did the same thing with Ant-Man, but not too many people were so concerned with Ant-Man. And I understand why people were so shocked and confused. Not shocked, but like upset about that fact and when they saw this movie. But to me, it's just like, I mean, Hawkeye, it shoots arrows really well. He's not going to do too much against Thanos. I mean, I like Hawkeye, and I like Jeremy Renner as his character, and I like Jeremy Renner as a person, but I mean, he Hawkeye's not going to do much. Like, I just don't know what he's going to do exactly. It would really be the easiest way for him to die, and I just wouldn't want that anyway. So that wraps up the pros and the cons of this movie. So with what I'm going to rate it out of 5 stars, I mean, what else can I rate it? 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. If I could give it a 6, I would, but this is my rating. This is my rating, so maybe I'll fix that another time. But that about wraps it up in this video. But in the comment section down below, where do you think Hawkeye is? And do you really think he's on house arrest, or do you think he's hiding out for a big surprise in the next Avengers movie? Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.